Are you tired of falling victim to manipulation in your everyday life? Do you want to strengthen your mental resilience and independence? In this video, we're diving into the world of Stoicism to uncover 9 unmistakable signs that you're impossible to manipulate. Lesson 1. You take action. Taking action is perhaps one of the most defining traits of someone who is impossible to manipulate. In Stoicism, action is not just about doing something for the sake of it, but about purposeful, deliberate steps toward a goal that aligns with your principles and virtues. When you are proactive, you are in control of your own decisions, rather than letting external forces, people, or circumstances steer your life in directions you don't want to go. This refusal to be passive or complacent is what makes you a force that manipulators cannot control. At the heart of Stoicism is the belief that we should focus on what we can control, our actions, responses, and thoughts, while accepting what is beyond our control with grace and resilience. Manipulators often thrive on exploiting uncertainty or making others feel powerless. They might suggest that you're incapable of making decisions or imply that they know what's best for you. But if you are someone who takes action, you do not fall for such tricks. You see through these tactics because your sense of agency is strong, and you are rooted in the understanding that you are responsible for your own path. Inaction is the breeding ground for manipulation. When we hesitate or fail to take decisive action, we leave a vacuum that others can fill. Manipulators are quick to exploit this indecision, pushing their agendas while you're still trying to figure out your next move. By contrast, the Stoic approach is to act decisively, with wisdom and virtue guiding the way. A Stoic doesn't rush into things recklessly, but neither do they procrastinate or let fear paralyze them. In Stoicism, courage is one of the 4 cardinal virtues, alongside wisdom, justice, and temperance. Courage in this context doesn't mean the absence of fear, but rather the ability to act in spite of it. When you take action despite your fears, you signal that you are not someone who can be easily manipulated by scare tactics or intimidation. You recognize that fear is a natural emotion, but it doesn't define your actions. Instead, you act in alignment with reason and principle, not emotions. By embracing courage, you also develop resilience. Manipulators rely on the hope that you will give in under pressure, but when you are grounded in the Stoic practice of courage and action, you become someone who cannot be easily influenced. You rise above fear and do what needs to be done, regardless of the challenges. Another important element of taking action is the ability to take initiative. Those who are impossible to manipulate are not waiting for permission or validation from others. They see what needs to be done, and they do it. Taking initiative shows that you are thinking ahead. You are in control of your life, and you are prepared to handle the consequences of your actions. When you take initiative, you demonstrate that you do not need to be pushed or coerced into action. Manipulators often try to position themselves as the solution to your problems, hoping that by doing so, they can control you. But someone who takes initiative doesn't need rescuing because they are already actively creating solutions for themselves. This proactive mindset makes you impervious to the schemes of manipulators who thrive on dependency and indecision. Initiative is also closely tied to the Stoic principle of responsibility. The Stoics believe that we should take responsibility for our own lives, regardless of the circumstances we find ourselves in. While we cannot always control what happens to us, we can control how we respond. And this response is where action lies. When you take responsibility for your life, you naturally become someone who takes action, because you recognize that no one else can live your life for you. Taking action not only protects you from manipulation, but it also creates momentum in your life. Once you begin moving in a direction, it becomes harder for others to stop or redirect you. Manipulators thrive on stagnation because it gives them time and space to influence your decisions. But when you are constantly taking action, setting goals, and making progress, you create a kind of forward motion that is difficult to derail. Momentum is a powerful defense against manipulation because it keeps you focused on your own goals and priorities. You don't have time to get caught up in the games or schemes of others because you are too busy moving forward. This kind of focus and drive not only protects you from external manipulation, but also strengthens your sense of self-confidence and purpose. Taking action is about living a life of purpose. The Stoics believe that every person has a role to play in the world, and it is our duty to fulfill that role with integrity and commitment. When you are guided by a sense of purpose, manipulation becomes impossible because you are not swayed by distractions or temptations. You know what you want out of life, and you are actively working toward it. Purpose-driven action also aligns you with the Stoic idea of living according to nature. For the Stoics, this meant living in harmony with the world, fulfilling your potential, and acting in ways that are consistent with virtue. When you live a life of purpose, manipulators cannot control you because you are not easily tempted by short-term gains or superficial desires. You are grounded in something deeper, something that gives your life meaning and direction. The ability to take action is a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy and a powerful defense against manipulation. By acting with courage, initiative, responsibility, and purpose, you become someone who cannot be controlled by others. You are rooted in your own values, guided by reason, and driven by the desire to live a life of virtue. When you take action, you take control of your life, and that makes you impossible to manipulate. Lesson 2. You set your own priorities. Advertisements, social pressures, expectations from family or friends, and even societal norms can pull you in various directions. Manipulators exploit this confusion, trying to convince you that their needs and goals should take precedence over your own. They may subtly, or not so subtly, impose their priorities onto you, leading you to abandon your goals for theirs. But when you are grounded in Stoic wisdom and have a firm grip on your values, this becomes impossible. Setting your own priorities means understanding the distinction between what is essential and what is trivial. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius often reflected on the fleeting nature of life, reminding us that we must choose carefully how we spend our limited time. He urged us to focus on what truly matters: virtue, wisdom, and personal growth, rather than being distracted by superficial concerns. This clarity allows you to resist manipulation because you know exactly what you want to achieve, and you refuse to let others divert your focus. When you set your priorities, you are not easily swayed by the opinions or desires of others. Stoicism teaches us that external validation is irrelevant compared to internal fulfillment. Manipulators often prey on people's need for approval, convincing them to prioritize tasks or goals that benefit the manipulator rather than the individual. However, if you are anchored in your priorities, you recognize that you don't need others' approval to live a meaningful life. You measure success by your own standards, not by the standards imposed by others. This autonomy in setting your priorities also gives you the strength to say no to distractions or demands that don't align with your goals. Manipulators thrive when they can create a sense of urgency or importance around things that, in reality, do not serve you. They may pressure you to take on tasks, make decisions, or invest in activities that benefit them, not you. But when you are clear about your priorities, you have the ability to decline such requests without guilt. You recognize that saying no is not a failure but an affirmation of your commitment to what truly matters. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of living with intention, and this is closely tied to setting your priorities. Living with intention means that every action you take aligns with your values and long-term vision. You are not acting impulsively or reactively. Instead, you are making deliberate choices that move you closer to your goals. Manipulators struggle to influence people who live intentionally because these individuals are too focused on their own path to be swayed by external forces. Another key element of setting your own priorities is the ability to manage your time effectively. Time is a resource that, once spent, can never be recovered. The Stoic understanding of time management is rooted in the concept of memento mori, the reminder of death, which encourages us to use our time wisely because life is short. When you prioritize wisely, you allocate your time toward activities that align with your values, personal growth, and well-being. Manipulators often try to waste your time with their own agendas, But when you are in control of your priorities, you guard your time fiercely, knowing that it is one of your most valuable assets. Setting your own priorities also empowers you to take responsibility for your life. In Stoicism, personal responsibility is a cornerstone of living a virtuous life. When you take charge of your priorities, you are asserting control over your destiny. Manipulators often try to shift responsibility away from themselves and onto others, but when you are grounded in your own priorities, you are immune to such tactics. You understand that your life is yours to lead, and you are accountable for the choices you make. Setting your own priorities fosters resilience. Life is full of challenges, and there will always be obstacles that try to pull you away from your goals. Manipulators may attempt to take advantage of these moments of difficulty by offering quick solutions that benefit them, but derail your progress. However, when your priorities are clear, you stay resilient in the face of adversity. You don't give in to easy distractions or temporary comforts because you are focused on the bigger picture. Setting your own priorities is a powerful way to ensure that you are impossible to manipulate. It means living with intention, taking control of your time and energy, and focusing on what truly matters. By following the Stoic path of wisdom and self-discipline, you protect yourself from being influenced by the agendas of others and stay firmly on the path of personal growth and fulfillment. Lesson 2. You set your own priorities. Manipulators often try to impose their own agenda on others. They want to convince you that their priorities should be your priorities. But someone who is impossible to manipulate knows the value of setting clear goals and sticking to them. You are not easily distracted by the whims of others because you have a clear vision of where you are going. Setting your own priorities means living with intention. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what truly matters: virtue, wisdom, and inner peace. When you are anchored in these values, you are immune to the attempts of others to steer you off course. Your mind is clear, your heart is focused, and your actions align with your goals. No one can manipulate you when you are the one in control of your own life. Lesson 3. You set boundaries. Boundaries are essential to maintaining control over your life and your emotional well-being. Without them, people can encroach on your time, energy, and decisions. In Stoicism, self-discipline is a core virtue. Part of that discipline is knowing when to say no, when to distance yourself, and when to protect your own interests. Setting boundaries doesn't mean shutting others out. It means understanding where you end and others begin. Manipulators often try to blur those lines. They want you to feel obligated to meet their needs, even if it comes at your expense. But if you are firm in setting your boundaries, you will never allow others to overstep into your personal space. You make it clear what is acceptable and what is not, and that clarity makes manipulation impossible. Stoicism teaches us to act from a place of reason, not emotional reaction. When you set boundaries, you are being proactive, not reactive. You are choosing to protect your peace, your time, and your energy. In doing so, you prevent others from controlling or influencing you in ways that serve their interests over your own. Setting boundaries is an act of self-respect and strength. Lesson 4. You demand respect. Demanding respect is another unmistakable sign that you are impossible to manipulate. Respect is a fundamental part of Stoic philosophy. According to the Stoics, we must first respect ourselves by living according to our values and virtues. Only then can we command respect from others. When you demand respect, you send a powerful message that you will not tolerate being mistreated, disrespected, or manipulated. Manipulators thrive on exploiting those who don't stand up for themselves, but someone who demands respect has a strong sense of self-worth and confidence. They are not easily swayed by the opinions or pressures of others. Stoicism teaches that respect is not something we beg for. It is something we earn by living a life of integrity. When you live with purpose, act with wisdom, and stay true to your values, respect naturally follows. You don't allow others to take advantage of you because you understand your worth. You demand respect not just with your words but with your actions, and that makes manipulation impossible. Lesson 5. You stand up to bullies. The ability to stand up to bullies is another sign that you are impossible to manipulate. Bullies use fear, intimidation, and coercion to control others. But in Stoicism, fear is something we learn to overcome. The Stoics believe that courage is one of the highest virtues. When you stand up to bullies, you are displaying the kind of courage that Stoic philosophers like Seneca and Marcus Aurelius admired. Bullies rely on weakness, insecurity, and submission. They seek out those who are unsure of themselves or easily influenced. But when you stand up to them, you show that you are not afraid. You make it clear that you will not tolerate their behavior, and in doing so, you take away their power. Standing up to bullies is an act of strength and self-respect. It shows that you value your own dignity and that you refuse to allow others to diminish it. Stoicism teaches us that true strength comes from within, and that strength makes you impossible to manipulate. Lesson 6. You don't blame yourself. Blaming oneself is a common tactic manipulators use to control others. They make you feel guilty for things that are not your fault, shifting responsibility onto you. But if you are someone who is impossible to manipulate, you refuse to accept that blame. In Stoicism, we are taught to take responsibility for what is within our control, but not to take on the burdens of things we did not cause. Self-blame is a trap that leads to self-doubt and insecurity. When you refuse to blame yourself for things that are not your responsibility, you protect your sense of self-worth. Manipulators lose their grip on you because they can no longer use guilt or shame as weapons against you. Stoicism teaches us to be self-aware and to recognize when we are being unjustly blamed. You are responsible for your own actions and choices, but not for the manipulations of others. By not blaming yourself, you maintain clarity, confidence, and control over your own life. Lesson 7. You use time to your advantage. Time is one of the most precious resources we have, and using it wisely is a sign that you are impossible to manipulate. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of living in the present moment and using time intentionally. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself to be mindful of the time you have left. When you use time to your advantage, you are not rushed into making decisions or pressured by others. Manipulators often try to create a sense of urgency, forcing you to act quickly without thinking. But a Stoic mind understands the value of patience and reflection. You take your time to make decisions that align with your values and long-term goals. You are not easily swayed by emotional impulses or the pressures of others. Using time to your advantage means staying in control of your own pace. You refuse to be hurried or pushed into anything that doesn't feel right. In doing so, you become immune to manipulation because you are always acting from a place of calm and thoughtful consideration. Lesson 8. You express your opinions clearly. Clear communication is another sign that you are impossible to manipulate. When you express your opinions clearly, you leave no room for misunderstanding or misinterpretation. Stoicism teaches us to be direct, honest, and forthright in our communication. Manipulators often thrive in situations where communication is unclear, allowing them to twist words or intentions to their advantage. By expressing your opinions clearly, you set the tone for how you want to be treated. You make it known what you believe, what you stand for, and what you will not tolerate. Stoicism encourages us to be open and honest, but also to be wise in our speech. We must think before we speak, but when we do, we speak with conviction. When your communication is clear, manipulators have no leverage. They cannot twist your words or use them against you. You become a person of integrity, and that integrity makes you impossible to manipulate. Lesson 9. You say no when needed. The ability to say no when needed is perhaps the most powerful sign that you are impossible to manipulate. In Stoicism, saying no is an act of self-discipline and wisdom. It shows that you understand your own limits and that you are not afraid to protect your own interests. Manipulators rely on people-pleasers, those who are too afraid to say no. But someone rooted in Stoic principles knows the importance of setting limits. Saying no is not about being selfish. It's about honoring your own boundaries and well-being. Stoicism teaches us to act in accordance with our own values, not the expectations or demands of others. When you say no, you are taking control of your life and refusing to be swayed by manipulation. Saying no when needed is a sign of strength, confidence, and clarity. It shows that you are in control of your own life, and that makes you impossible to manipulate.